What's going on, Falcon fans? This is Warakundo coming back at you with another video. So today we're gonna talk about Matty Ice calling it quits in the NFL. Yes, our quarterback, our franchise quarterback for over 14 years. He was the Atlanta Falcons, drafted back in 2008. A guy who helped the Atlanta Falcons move on from the Michael Vick era, where there was really a lot of turmoil during that time with the Atlanta Falcon franchise, and Matt Ryan came in and actually stabilized um, this franchise, and we're going to talk about it today. And how will he be remembered? Is he, potentially going into the Hall of Fame? Right? We're going to talk about that today. Talk about Matt Ryan's tenure here with the franchise, my thoughts on Matt Ryan himself, what he actually contributed to the franchise, go over some of the things he did, how dynamic I feel like he was, and after that, we're going to talk about some draft news because it is draft week, 3 days away from the 2024 NFL draft. News on potential tampering, um, evidence coming out for the Atlanta Falcons and how they're going to get penalized with that. We'll talk about all those things today, guys. But definitely today is all about Matty Ice. We're going to start off with him. So with that being said, if you have not already, go ahead and please subscribe to the channel. Please hit the notification bell so you know when I drop another video. Please hit the like button so I know you guys not here to talk about. Then please share my video throughout the YouTube universe so more people can come in and hear me talk about. That's right, these Atlanta Falcons. So, guys, real quick, we're going to talk about Matty Ice. Matty Ice calls it quits. Finally, what's up going on, Kevin? You all right? Matt Ryan is a class act, man. First of all, if you guys have not went out and watched his retirement press conference that he did, he also did an interview with West Durham and Dave Archer as well, and he did an interview with Torrey McElhaney. So go back and watch all those on AtlantaFalcon.com. Really interesting, really insight onto his career, um, during this time here in Atlanta, and you know, just like you said, he was a class act, man. Like, what can we say about Matt Ryan? Um, just like I've been an Atlanta Falcon fan for probably since the early '90s, probably that I can remember. Probably longer than that. But for me, just remembering, the Jerry Glanville days with Prime Time, those guys, um, Jesse Tuggle, those days. I remember those days a whole lot because that's when I was really starting to watch football a lot. Being, a teenager during that time, telling my age a little bit, but yeah, being a teenager during that time, get ready, watching Atlanta Falcons. I still remember the '98 Super Bowl, with Chris Chandler, Terry Matthews, those guys. I remember all those guys, right? And then, of course, Arthur Blank bought the franchise. Um, Over then, of course, the Michael Vick era started, right? And we remember how electric Michael Vick was and what he did for this franchise. Um, some people say he probably was the face of the NFL at one point, right? Because he was so electrifying, the things he was able to do. I think Michael Vick was going to be the first $100 million quarterback. Um, that contract that he signed with Atlanta Falcons. So we remember all those times. We remember how exciting Atlanta was during that, and then we remember what happened. Right, Michael Vick goes to jail. Um, that period between Michael Vick and before the Atlanta Falcons, went to that 2008 draft was we didn't know what was going to happen. Right, it was bad. We remember Bob Petrino. I know everybody probably trying to forget about the Bob Petrino era and things like that, but Matt Ryan coming in and really, guys, stabilizing this franchise. And most people don't want to hear this because we know how it's hot and cold on Matt Ryan through his tenure here. But let's be honest, Matt Ryan had the best um, career as the Atlanta Falcons for a franchise. He put the Atlanta Falcons in the best state that it has been in, and it's probably in its entire existence since it was established back way back when, right? Matt Ryan came in and his first 5 seasons was winning seasons, guys. First 5 seasons, yes, first 5 seasons winning seasons, right? First season took the team to the playoffs as a rookie. He won Rookie of the Year that year. And finally we got to a point where we thought maybe we was going to start do something. He was the first quarterback to actually have back-to-back winning seasons. How about that? Right? Just think about it. Atlanta Falcons been in the lead a long time. And the first quarterback, the first time the Atlanta Falcons had went back-to-back winning seasons is 2008, 2009 season. And then he continued that on all the way up to 2012, right? Winning seasons, right? We went to the playoffs 4 out of those 5 seasons. That the second season we did not go, right, but we still went 9-7 that season, right? The next season got put out by the Giants. The season after that, you know, we got put out by the Packers, right, in the playoffs. And then, but remember, both of those teams went to the Super Bowl and won the Super Bowls those back-to-back seasons. And then we finally broke through, and you know, in 2016, 2012, we went to the NFC Championship game again, right? That was the first playoff win by Matt Ryan in that 2012 season, and that was a pass interference on they hit on Roddy White. We know that, but you know we don't want to go back and talk about old stuff. But anyway, then it started to go downhill, right? So, he was here for 14 seasons, had 8 winning seasons under those 14 seasons. So the latter part of his career, where we started to see those 7-10 seasons, those 4-12 seasons, things like that. But for the most part, when he first got here, guys, he was really he put Atlanta Falcons where there was a franchise, a team that we could kind of depend on, that was going to be winning and actually have a chance to actually make a playoff run, right? That's where it was during that time. He talked about it, that his first season, that was a pretty solid team that he came in on, with Michael Turner and those guys, Roddy White and those guys. Then the second season, he got Tony Gonzalez with Tony Gonzalez for all those years. We know happened in 2010, got Julio Jones, right? Um, that offense was really, really good during the time while Matt Ryan was here. The problem was, as a team, right, the team was not good at all, right? And that's what really hurt us for the most part, the way the team was put together. Now, most people want to talk about the cap and things like that, but it goes back to team building. We've been talking about team building all this off season, and how people put teams together and things like that, and that's what you got to figure, to factor in how this team was put together. How was Thomas Dimitroff drafting? How what he's doing with his free agency, and as we see now, it's a lot to it. If you're following it more and more now, how team building is, and how you have to build through the draft, how you have to be able to get a lot of some of your needs through free agency. During that time with Tommy Dimitroff, it was none of that, right? It was mostly misses in some of the draft picks that we had. The free agency, signings that he brought in never really panned out, right? So it was all put up on the offense's, shoulders to try to produce and do something. And that's where we fell short, because, it's something that, Matt Ryan mentioned today, and it really interesting. You think about it, it's the ultimate team sport, and everybody puts wins and losses on the head coach and the quarterback. But, it really is ultimate team sport. Quarterback is 1 of 11 on offense. He doesn't play on defense, doesn't play on special teams, right? Don't kick field goals, don't do kickoff return, don't do kickoff. But all the responsibility falls on the quarterback when it's the ultimate team sport. So And he was cool with that. If you listen to him talk about it, he understood that responsibility, being the face of the franchise and going to take all the good and the bad, which he did. Because trust me, us as Atlanta Falcon fans gave him a lot of bad, right? But through that time, he came in. I mean, think about it. He only missed 2 games. He played 234 games for this franchise. He only missed 2 games, and those 2 games were early in his career, right? We don't think about that. So I'm just going to go over some of Matt Ryan numbers, which, and I'm just going to tell you, in my opinion, I think they're Hall of Fame worthy. We can have this argument more, anytime you want to. We can talk about errors and things like this, but if you look at the numbers where he placed all time right now, he's a Hall of Famer. And I know he didn't win Super Bowls. I get it. But if you're going to just factor everything out Super Bowls, like I said, it's an ultimate team sport and it takes the team to win. But when it comes to Matt Ryan, he's fourth all time in fourth quarter comebacks, fourth all time. Only quarterbacks ahead of him in that status: Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, and Ben Roethlisberger. Right? He he's fourth all time in fourth quarter comebacks. Right? He's fourth all time in 300-yard passing games. Only quarterbacks in front of him is Drew Brees, Tom Brady, Peyton Manning. Fourth all time. He's seventh all time in passing yards. Seventh all time. Think about all the quarterbacks that don't play in this league. And I know it wasn't a passing league back then, but you got Brady, Brees, Manning, Favre, Big Ben, and Phillip Rivers. Those are the only quarterbacks that's ahead of him in passing yards, right? He got 100 QBR in the playoffs, right? Yes, he's 4-6 in playoffs. As a quarterback, the Falcons are 4-6, but as Matt Ryan as a starting quarterback, he's 4-6 in the playoffs. But he got 100 QBR, 20 touchdowns, 7 interceptions during that span, 67.6% completion percentage in the playoffs, guys. He got 381 touchdowns, only 183 interceptions. That's a look at that touchdown to interception ratio. To me, these numbers, as we stand today, right? We're not talking about guys coming up because a lot of these numbers are going to get shattered. I get it. You guys like Patrick Mahomes, you got Justin Herbert, those guys throwing the ball over the field. Some of these numbers are going to get shattered. But if we're talking about today and talking about where Matt Ryan stands right now, all time, he's got Hall of Fame numbers. And if anybody want to just factor in the Super Bowls, right? It's a lot of quarterbacks that's already in the Hall of Fame that does not have a Super Bowl, right? You got Jim Kelly, we got Dan Marino, right? We got Warren Moon, right? We got quarterbacks that's in the Hall of Fame that does not have a Super Bowl. And you know, Trent Dilfer got a Super Bowl, Eli Manning got a Super Bowl, and I would not put neither one of those guys above Matt Ryan, right? So, like I said, I understand the Super Bowl it's one of the things there, and you have to produce in the postseason and so on and so forth. But in my opinion, right, when you talk about how Matt Ryan should be remembered, you know, as the Atlanta Falcons, all-time winningest player in Atlanta Falcon history, all the records, and in my opinion, he's the greatest Falcon of all time so far, right? I'm not talking about talent because I know a lot of guys like, well, he wasn't better than this guy. Well, I'm talking about from a franchise standpoint, he's the greatest Falcon to ever play for the Atlanta Falcons. And you can argue me all you want, but the numbers are there. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Matt Ryan is the greatest Falcon of all time. And yes, I believe that he should be in the Hall of Fame. And to be honest with you, at this point right now, um, where we're in this quarterback purgatory, right? We was in quarterback purgatory since we decided to trade Matt Ryan away, and we saw how it felt. It was going back to that 2006, 2007 time frame, between the Michael Vick and Matt Ryan era, where we was like, it really sucks not to have a franchise quarterback. Now we hope Kirk Cousins come in and get this ship back right and things be like that. But for 14 seasons, Matt Ryan stabilized his franchise. And if they could have just put a team around him, and I know some people say that Matt Ryan failed the franchise, but I think the franchise failed Matt Ryan because the kind of talent that he was, in my opinion, they would have put the right team around him. He would have delivered us a Super Bowl. The number speaks for itself. He was just a model of consistency the whole time he been here. A guy that went out every game and put it all on the line. You know, we didn't know how beat up he was. We didn't know how hurt he was, right? We seen the hits he took. We seen the sacks he took. But every Sunday, every Thursday, every Monday, whenever he came out and played, he came out and he put it on the line to try to win games for this franchise. And I can honestly say I always believed that we had a chance when Matt Ryan was on the field. And I can tell you this: these last couple seasons, we ain't had that feeling. Just be honest. And if Matt Ryan had some of these rosters that Desmond Ritter, Marcus Mariota had these last couple of seasons, man, I don't know what this team could have been like. So I mean, just look at it like that. But I'm interested to see what you guys got to say about Matty Ice. Um, his he was probably the most one of the most polarizing players we had because a lot of people hated him. A lot of people liked him. Like I walk around and people say, "Man, what you all gonna do about Matt Ryan?" Every time, like, and it kind of lets you know that a lot of people don't watch the game in its entirety. They just think about, oh, it's the quarterback this, quarterback this, but it is about the team, right? And at the end of the day, you're gonna blame the coach and the quarterback because that's who gets the blames in the game of football. But in reality, you have to have the pieces. You have to have put the pieces around the old players for them to be successful. And lots of times, yes, the offense was dynamic, right? And we put up numbers in this offense. It's not like Matt Ryan was scoring 19 points a game. No, he was scoring 42, 38, 35, scoring numerous points a game, and still we was losing games. So um, I just feel like today we're gonna celebrate Matty Ice. Um, he got the nickname fourth all time in fourth quarter comebacks. You cannot take that away. That's I mean even in playoff games, right? The 38 is regular seasons, but we had a couple playoff game comebacks as well that Matt Ryan orchestrated and actually got the job done too. So you love to see the way the franchise was going, where it was headed. Couldn't get the job, still the job done. In 2016 when the Georgia Dome we shut it down, right? Going to the Super Bowl. You probably one of the most memorable moments in Atlanta Falcon history. Last game in the Georgia Dome, we took our revenge on those Green Bay Packers, those same Green Bay Packers that took us out in 2011. I think it was 2011. So you gotta love it, man. You gotta love it. Congratulations to Matty Ice. We will still be hearing him. We're gonna be probably, calling some of the Falcons games. Hopefully, he has some good things to say about the Falcons because they were playing well and all such forth. So let's go. Let's see what you guys got to say. Uh, Wallace says Matt is the greatest Falcon player in my opinion. Kept us relevant. The Vic debacle was one of the top 8 quarterbacks when he played. Yes, 100% agree with you. Agree with you, Wallace. Kevin said Matt made his receivers better. Look at how many went to teams after playing with Matt, and they dropped our production. Don't say that too loud because that's why a lot of people think Matt Ryan was good because of his receivers he had. But to your point, what those receivers happened when they left Matty Ice? That's a great point. I'm not the biggest fan of Ryan, but he's the most consistent quarterback we ever had, and he was tough. There you go. I mean, you got to be fair, right? And a lot of people wasn't a fan of him, right? I don't see why you couldn't be a fan of him. I'm just be honest. But at least you he is the most consistent we ever had. Let's just be honest with you. That's true. Yes, Kevin Hart Hall of Fame, 100% Hall of Fame. The number speaks for itself, right? Um, I just, I mean, I can honestly say those last 14 seasons with Matt Ryan um, under center was probably some of my funnest memories that I had as an Atlanta Falcon fan. I mean, I can go off, go back to my when I was younger. Some games I still remember the '98 Super Bowl, that Minnesota game, when I'm sitting there watching it, and then he missed that field goal. The Minnesota Vikings kicker missed the field goal. I was like, oh man, we got a chance to win this game. And I was all hyped. I remember that. Um, I remember the primetime days. I remember Jerry Glanville. I remember the run and shoot with Jeff George. If you guys remember that, right? Of course, we remember Michael Vick. We remember how electric Mike Vick was, how exciting of a player he was. But people forget Michael Vick was here for 6 years, and we had 2 winning seasons with Michael Vick. And that's what people forget. Yes, he was dynamic. He was electrifying and all those things that you want to say, but we didn't win. And remember, the first time we had a back-to-back winning seasons was with Matty Ice. So that just speaks volumes for um, how he took us and where he took us during that time. I mean, think about it. 2008, we had a winning season. 2009, 2010, 2011, 2012. The Atlanta Falcons had a winning season in all those seasons. And we went to the playoffs the first season. We missed the second season, even though we went 9-7. Matt Ryan got hurt. He missed 2.5 games in that 2009 season, so he was hurt. We went 9-7 that season. 2010, yes, we got beat in the playoffs. 2011, yes, we got beat in the playoffs. 2012, the first playoff win a long time. Remember, that was the first playoff win for Tony Gonzalez, who had been in the league for like 14 seasons, right? That was Tony Gonzalez. We beat the Seattle Seahawks. We lose to the San Francisco 49ers, right? I know everybody remember that game. It was up 17-0 going into the half. Probably should have pulled that off as well, but we didn't. I mean, things happen. But that time frame, guys, from 2008 to 2012 was really, really exciting time for us, right? And then you go to that 2016, 2017, that back-to-back seasons where we went to the Super Bowl, then we went back to the divisional round. Um, that was our last winning seasons, guys. Think about it. 2016, 2007 was the last winning seasons that Atlanta Falcons have had, right? So it's of course it's time for a change, and you understand why Matt Ryan had to leave because of the salary cap and things like that. I get it. Since that time, we've been in quarterback purgatory, and hopefully, bringing in, Kirk Cousins, maybe we can see a change. Kevin says he also did a lot for the city. He was committed to the franchise. The city matters up downs. He wasn't flying. Yes, man. This Matt Ryan, um, he made this city his home. The Philly boy came down to the Atlanta area, still lives here to today. Made this city his home. His adopted city, where most people didn't even give him the credit that he probably deserved during the time he was here. But you know, at the same time, man, you have to tip your head off to Matt Ryan. You know, he was a one-time All Pro, 4-time Pro Bowler. Offensive Rookie of the Year, and of course he was NFL MVP. Drew Brees, never won an NFL MVP. Matt Ryan has that notch on his belt, where a guy like Drew Brees, who you know has the most probably 300 game passing yards by a mile than anybody, right? Because we know how dynamic that offense was out there in New Orleans. But Matt Ryan, for all the accolades that Drew Brees had, he never produced one NFL MVP season like Matt Ryan did, and that speaks a lot, of volumes for what kind of quarterback that Matt Ryan was during his tenure. And most people don't want to give him his due. But I'm telling you guys, the numbers don't lie, right? That's what it boils down to. Yes, it's playoff numbers matters, but if you can't, if Super Bowl was a criteria to get into to the Hall of Fame, well, a lot of players wouldn't be in there. So, um, I feel like he should be remembered as the greatest Falcon of all time. I also feel like he should be in the NFL Hall of Fame. That's Terry T said, "What's wrong with number 11?" Yeah, man, like he didn't shout out him or nothing, man. That I didn't. I kind of saw that too. That was kind of weird. You would think that Julio would have shouted him out because Julio's probably getting the Hall of Fame, and it will be because of Matt Ryan, right? And so that's a great point. You heard from a lot of his former teammates and things like that. But I mean, when you think about Matt Ryan, you got to think about Julio Jones. I mean, that was one of the best tandems, you know, in the NFL history, man. I mean, Julio Jones, when he was playing with Matt Ryan, he had the highest, you know, yardage per game average as a receiver when he played with the Falcons, right? We had Matt Ryan throwing the ball almost 100 yards a game, right? And that's all due to Matt Ryan. So you would think that Julio would have shouted him out. Maybe he did, privately, something like that. Maybe he's not on social media. He's not a public guy. We don't know, but yeah, when you think about Julio Jones, you definitely got to think about Matty Ice because he's the reason why Julio will probably get into the Hall of Fame as well because of the numbers that he put up. So let's just be real, right? Um, so guys, that's what I got to say about Matt Ryan. We can talk about Matty Ice all day. Um, the things he did for the franchise. Maybe we could, once he do get inducted in the Hall of Fame, we come back and we'll talk about it again and break down some more memorable moments. If you guys got any memorable moments you remember about Matty Ice, just shout them out. We'll definitely talk about those. But um, probably my most memorable moment, um, and this is probably his second game. Well, I don't know if it was the second game of the season. Second game of the season was against Tampa, but it was in his rookie season and Chicago game where he threw that pass on the sideline to Michael Jenkins to win the game. They talked about that in the interview, but that's probably one of my most memorable moments because then I was like, man, this dude living up to the nickname is Matty Ice for real, man. I mean, it's probably his first fourth quarter comeback that he had of his career. End up with 38 in the regular season. Fourth all time. But that's probably his first one, and that's probably one of the plays I remember. But I mean, he did so much, man. So many times when he got in the rhythm, he started clicking. I mean, he looked like he was unstoppable, man. Matt Ryan sometimes didn't miss a pass for like a whole quarter, whole half, right? He just locked in, man. That's how this offense was humming when he was hitting on all cylinders, him in that offense. So, especially in the NFL, the MVP season that he had. But Matt Ryan did a lot of good things for this city, for this organization. Um, in my opinion, help this organization start to develop some winning ways to bring some kind of, pride to this team, right? I mean, just think about it. and people don't. It's crazy to think about it. 2008, 2009 was the first time that this franchise had back-to-back winning seasons. That's that's unthinkable, unimaginable, But think about it though, right? You can't even imagine something like that. But that was the case. That definitely was the case. All right, guys, that's all I got to say about Matty Ice. Like I said, if you got any other things you want to say about Matt, like I said, congrats, Matt. Good luck on your retirement. We definitely gonna be hearing you in the broadcast booth. Um, you already mentioned that you want to come back and be no coach and be part of the organization in any kind of way. So definitely, be looking for the ring of honor real soon here. And we'll see what you know when that's going to be. Terry T says he said more about Mike Jenkins in number 11 that he make looks like. Yeah, yeah, he said a lot about Michael Jenkins, man. But because Mike Jenkins, Brian Finneran actually showed up to his press conference. But yeah, it's just a weird dynamic between him and Julio. I don't know if that actually ended off on good terms or what's the deal with that, but um maybe Julio just a quiet guy. Um, Kevin says my favorite was NFC against the Packers. I live in Packer country, and we'll still talk up there. Yeah, man, that game. I mean, at that point, man, the Falcons' offense couldn't be stopped. That 2016 season, man, that was probably one of the best offense I ever seen in my life. I mean, think about it. He threw to 13 different um, pass catcher for a touchdown that season. 38 touchdowns. I mean, he was lights out, man. The run game was dynamic with Devontae Freeman and Coleman. I mean, that was probably one of the best well-run offenses I ever seen. And Matt Ryan was the orchestrator of that with, of course, Kyle Shanahan, directing everything. But man, that was outstanding season. Um, but it wasn't like I said. I just like the way he came in because you got to think about Matt Ryan coming in the shadow of Michael Vick and living up to the number 3 overall pick. Like I said, first pass touchdown, first year taking the teams to the playoffs, backing that up the next season, having a winning back-to-back winning season for the first time. The next 4 seasons having winning seasons. I mean, think about it. All that in the shadow of probably one of the most popular players to ever play for your franchise, where everybody was missing him and wanted him back, and he just come out, keeping his head down, moving this franchise forward, trying to make us into a winning franchise. You got to respect that. And for that, to me, that's why, in my opinion, he's the greatest Falcon ever. So um, that's what I got to say about Matty Ice. So so real quick, let's get into some draft news. Real quick, let's get into some draft news. We definitely want to talk about that. Um, we'll say, what about those Rams back in the days? There was, oh yeah, man, yes, the greatest show on turf, yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, yeah, greatest show on turf was really special. So I'm not going to even compare what we did to the greatest show on turf. Those seasons. That was something special with Marshall Falk, man, and those pass catchers they had, man, Torrey Holt and them. Whew, you right, Isaac Bruce. Those guys was ridiculous. It put us on the map. Map kept us there. That is right. I agree. I mean, Matt Ryan had to live in some big shoes, man, after Michael Vick, because what he did. But Matt Ryan kept us there and even took us to further heights, than what even Michael Vick could had us. So you got to tip your hat off to Matty Ice. All right, guys. So let's get into some quick draft news. First thing we'll talk about is the tampering news. Kirk Cousins coming in already. hitting us in the head with some probably gonna lose a draft pick. They said that they're almost done with the investigation on the tampering between the Philadelphia Eagles and Atlanta Falcons. Philadelphia with Saquon Barkley and Atlanta Falcons with Kirk Cousins. It was reported that Atlanta probably get a more severe penalty than what the Philadelphia Eagles will get. If you look at some precedents there, um, we don't want to look at the Miami Dolphins because I think it won't fall into a punishment like what they got when they was tampering with Tom Brady and Sean Payton. Um, but we do look at another precedence like what the Chiefs got. They got some day 3 picks taken away from them in back-to-back seasons. Now, if we do get news from this tampering, the penalties won't take place in this year's draft, right? We're just too close. I don't think they will penalize the Falcons this year. However, they probably get penalized next year. So we'll see what that turns out to be. What penalty they get. I'm still really confused about how you have a period, 2-day period where you can actually go out and talk to players, and it's called legal tampering period. But you get tagged on with tampering. It doesn't make sense to me. So I guess hopefully they explain it, instead of just giving a penalty out, whatever. Explain what they actually what was the actual violation that they made, right? That would be really nice to know. But either way, you know, we'll hear from that soon. But it won't affect this year's draft. Probably more likely affect next year's draft, and probably some day 3 picks, probably some fines or something like that. So we'll wait to see and hear from that. I know a lot of people was all up in arms, like, damn, man, we're gonna lose draft picks, but we won't lose draft picks this year. More than likely, it will be next year, and it'll probably be some day 3 picks, more than likely. You heard that crazy rumor about, the we just going to get penalized and get the Vikings our number 8 pick, and then we take their number 11 pick. That's not going to happen. I don't. There's no precedent for that to happen. If it does happen, that'd be new. Um, Something set, this year if they was to do something crazy like that. Don't see that happening. But once we hear about what the penalty is, we'll talk about it and see how that really is going to affect this team moving forward. But that does play in the fact that the Atlanta Falcons could move back in the draft to try to, prepare themselves for whatever penalty they might occur, next season. So they move back and get some draft capital for next year. Whatever penalty they get next year won't hurt them so bad. So that's why they want to be incentive for the Falcons to move back out of the 8 and try to recoup some of the maybe tampering violation penalties that they're going to occur here soon once they get through an investigation. We'll once we know what they are, we'll talk about those. We're gonna go around NFL a little bit today and talk about some of the news that came out today about the draft. We're getting close, and when you're talking about your team, you got to talk about all the other teams that's out there, and kind of factor in how it's going to affect the Falcons based on what all the other teams are doing. So Terry said it's just going to be a third next year, and the draft almost as old as Matt Ryan. Yeah, man. Yeah, I was thinking about that. When Matt Ryan, was retiring and Kirk Cousins 36, I was like, we just trading Matts. You know what I'm saying? We trading, consistent quarterbacks. I mean, it seemed like they just went back to consistent quarterback who's a little bit younger. So hopefully that's the way it's going to pan out for us. Well, we won't lose no draft picks this year. Nope, none this year. None this year. You said, am I doing a draft show? I haven't decided yet. If I don't do my own, I'm probably tag along with another content creator, Atlanta Falcons content creator. So I'm probably going to be on somewhere if I'm not doing my own. So be on the lookout for that. But I probably will do a draft show this year if I don't, participate with somebody else. So stand by on that. I'll let you guys know. Um, but let's go around the league, guys. So one of the big news today, Zach Wilson has been traded to the Denver Broncos for late round picks, 6 and 7 round picks. Man, that's you talking about a guy that fell from grace, right? Got drafted number 2 overall and got traded to a team for a pick swap. We talking about 6 and 7 round picks. So, um, man, that's wild. And if you look at that draft class, pretty much every guy in that draft class is on another team except Trevor Lawrence, right? Got Zach Wilson's on another team. You got Justin Fields. You got Trey Lance. You got Matt Jones. All those, quarterbacks that was taken in the draft is on another team. It just goes to show you um, how fickle, picking a quarterback in the draft is, man. It's really gonna show you. And if I was some of those teams up top in this year's draft, I'd be kind of nervous, man, because you don't know which one is gonna be a bust and which one is gonna pan out, man. You just don't know. Maybe you could have that. I think what's the 83, 84 draft where all those quarterbacks came in that John Elway, Jim Kelly draft. Maybe you have a draft like that, but as of late, man, these quarterbacks going high in the draft is not really faring that well. So, but Zach Wilson, you know, getting traded to the Broncos, what does that mean for them, right? Because now they got, they got Stidham there, right? Now they got Zach Wilson there. Do they still try to move up? It's reported that they still might be looking up. The problem with the Broncos, they don't have a second round pick this year, because of the Russell Wilson trade. So that they made a couple years ago with the Seattle Seahawks. So what kind of draft capital do they have to even move up to get a quarterback? But you know, you still can see them because giving up a swap, a pick swap in later rounds for Zach Wilson doesn't mean. And plus, the Jets had to pay $5.5 million of his salary to make that trade. So the Broncos made out good on this, and they still could move up in it. So what does that mean for them? You know, so stand by and see what the Broncos decide to do. What's interesting, it's been reported that 2 teams that really have really good rosters are trying to move up in the draft, and that's the Philadelphia Eagles and the Kansas City Chiefs are trying to move up in the draft as well, which is interesting. So they're trying to make their team even better, and they've been projected to have one of the best 2 rosters in the NFL going into 2024. But both of those teams are trying to move up in the draft, being reported. Um, Also, it's a couple of teams that's willing to listen. That's higher up in the draft, like the New England Patriots. But it's reported that they want to haul for theirs. So if you're going to move up to number 3 for a quarterback for the New England Patriots, you're going to give up a lot of draft capital to do it. That's what they're looking for. If not, they plan on staying there. The Arizona Cardinals at number 4 are listening as well. We knew that could have been a prime trade up spot because they're in the middle right now. They could be trying to get draft capital. Yes, they probably could miss out on a generational receiver in Marvin Harrison Jr. But if they feel like they can move back a couple spots and still get a talented guy, to help build their roster up, we can see them doing that. So Arizona is listening as well. In this, listening to this draft. So it's the rumors starting to come out, guys. We don't know how true these rumors are, but they're starting to put rumors out closer we get to the draft and starting to throw teams off and trying to figure out what's right and what to believe and what not believe. Is it was report that the Atlanta Falcons could be in the mix to get Michael Penix Jr. Now we do know the Atlanta Falcons went up to Washington to go see him, throw the ball, and they had a private meeting, private workout with him. So, and we just talked about Kirk Cousins is 36, so maybe I just don't see Atlanta Falcons drafting a quarterback at number 8, but we just don't know, guys. We just don't know. But it is a rumor that Michael Penix can go as early as number 8 to the Atlanta Falcons. And maybe he wowed them when they went up there, and they already, think about a succession plan at number 8. And if they do that, I think our fan base is going to go crazy. I just if we get Michael Penix Jr. at number 8, I just can imagine how draft night is going to be. It's going to be real wild. So, that happens. But I'm just saying rumors, guys. Just talking about rumors that's out there right now. Another rumor that came out that Latu, the pass rusher from UCLA, is now favored over Dallas Turner to be the number 8th overall pick for two Atlanta Falcons. So somehow it jumped from being Dallas Turner for most mock drafts to Latu, being that guy now. Either one of those guys for me, I wouldn't mind. Either way, I'm cool with it. But that is one of the things that they reported, that Latu is now favored to be the draft. Also, it's been talked about earlier this week that Brian Murphy could actually be up to even be a guy that the Atlanta Falcons could even draft at number 8 as well. The defensive tackle out of University of Texas. So another guy that's probably a top 20 pick, but 8 is too high. That's why, when we thinking about some of these guys we're talking about, trading back would probably be the best thing for the Falcons. And where the Falcons at right now, maybe in a like I said yesterday, in a good spot because of being at number 8. But if you got teams at 3 and 4 willing to listen, maybe teams want to jump and go up that high. They're gonna have to give up more draft capital to do it, but maybe they're gonna do that. I think at number 6, the New York Giants, a lot of people speculating they're going to take a quarterback. I think they're good with Daniel Jones. I think they're willing to stick with him. So I think the Giants might maybe take an offensive tackle, or they might take one of those receivers there at number 6. So those are rumors going around, guys. Just 3 days left. We know for a fact that you're going to start hearing more and more rumors. Think it was interesting me. Chiefs, Eagles think about moving up. The Broncos make a trade 3 days prior for Zach Wilson. Are they at the quarterback market or not? They still might be, aiming for JJ McCarthy. Is how high will he go? Right. So many, you know, scenarios that can take place during draft. Is it going to be a pre-draft trade before we get to draft night? How many trades going to be on draft night? It's going to be really interesting to find out. But we're going to be all here to cover it and talk about it. But start listening to more rumors, because the more rumors you're going to get, you'll see. Kevin says, is that trade going to shuffle the teams or going after? Yeah, that's the question. We don't know what the Denver Broncos going to do, because they traded for Jack. Broncos don't have enough draft capital this year to move. They don't, but they could give away next year's first round. Maybe that might entice somebody. I mean, it could even entice the Falcons. We get an extra first round pick for next year, because that's what I'll be asking from them. And they give us first round next year, maybe a fourth this year. They can move up 4 spots, right? We might do that as the Atlanta Falcons, but they have to give up something next year. Give us some next year capital. I agree with you. I don't see them drafting Penny. I just don't see it, man. I know people it's smoke there, and maybe they just trying to, sell Penny for other teams to come up to take him there at number 8, where they can move down. We don't know, but we'll see. They don't know what they're going to do, because on Fields coming to us, then they jump to Kirk coming to us. They're jumping to the hot. Yeah, man. It's just rumors. That's why this time of the season, you can't believe. You just gotta wait to see what happens, man. We don't damn know. We just don't know what's gonna happen, man. We really don't know, right? We have no clue what the Atlanta Falcons is gonna do. I just think, man, they should take the best defensive player on the board. I like the offense where it's at. I think we can still add pieces to the offense, but take the best defensive player, man. Let's do this. Let's just make it simple. Don't overthink this thing. Take whoever you think the best defensive player is, and we're gonna be happy with that. All right. Just one pick in this draft. You got 7 picks left. So it's not the end all be all draft, but you start this thing off right. So your fan base can be happy this time and everybody don't be upset. Even though if you take the best defender and if you don't take the defender that somebody likes, they're gonna be upset about it. So I guess you you're gonna lose anyway. You're gonna win to some and lose to some. So just don't know. Terry T say Byron Murphy will be a steal next. Aaron Donald. Some people is comparing him to that. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, he's a beast. I know that he's really strong. Um, he took on a lot of double teams in Texas. I don't know if he's that high though. I don't know if he's rated number 8 overall. That's the only problem I have with it. But I can tell you this. I like our scouting department. I think they have really did a great job these last 3 seasons of picking solid guys, especially the guys going in the first and second round. Well, except for Richard Grant because he has not lived up to the hype. The jury's still out on him, maybe Katie, but we'll have to see. But I do like our scouting department, and if they pick Byron Murphy, they seen something in him. It's something that when we talk about these guys, man, these prospects, these players that's coming in the league, and something that we don't talk about a lot. You think about a guy like Zach Wilson, think about a guy like Trey Lance, right? You talk about, and it's probably more about quarterbacks than any other position, but some of these guys that come in this league go to the wrong teams, and the fit is just don't work for them, and they get screwed, man. I mean, Trey Lance, the guy haven't had an opportunity to even show he can play in this league. He haven't got opportunity to even grow. And he's almost coming up on the end of his contract here soon. Remember, he was in the Kyle Pitts draft. So are the Dallas Cowboys going to pick up the 5th-year option on? They got to make a decide on that, but you know we don't know what Trey Lance is about. So a guy like Byron Murphy, to a lesser extent because it's a defensive tackle, like a quarterback, you got to go to the right teams where it's good coaching that's going to put you in position to be successful. So it's really about because all these guys can play, man. To get this far, you know, to even be, on people draft boards, to be projected to be come to NFL, all these guys got talent. You just got to be able to find out what that talent is as a coaching staff and put them in the best position to be successful. And a lot of coaches today don't do that. They try to make guys fit their systems and things like that instead of putting guys in the positions to be good, to work to their strengths, right? That's what you got to do. So you got to find the right fit. I think that's really important for these young players. That's why you hear, a Deion Sanders said he wanted his kids to go to a particular team, right? Because it's about the fit, the team that's going to win. You hear what Mike Tomlin saying about when coaches don't want to coach no more, things like this. You want to go to a team where you're going to be put in the best position to be successful. That fit for you, right? So Byron Murphy, we get him. Can he be the next Aaron Donald? We don't know. We don't know about his motor. We don't know how dynamic. I'm telling you somebody that I like a lot. Not saying to pick at number 8, but Johnny Newton out of Illinois. That guy, man, is is a beast. I love his motor. He reminds me a little bit of Aaron Donald, the way he gets off the ball, his frame, and things like that. But um, it's a lot of guys that I like in this draft that can't take but one, in the first round. and so on and so forth. So, but these guys are going to come into teams, and hopefully they go to the right fit. While it says Coach Morris saw and Coach AD at the round, so so he know what he see, right? Like I said, man, it is going to be really interesting to see who the Falcons pick on Thursday. I can't wait. I know you guys can't wait either, to find out, which direction they go in. But guys, those some of the rumors around, this week, this year's draft is all about those. If those first three picks go quarterback, 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 um, really the draft could start at number 4 if the Arizona Cardinals are willing or listening. Right, they're listening to teams to trade up at number 4. But if not, if they're going to stay pat, I still believe the draft starts at number 8 with the Atlanta Falcons, because I think the Chargers, the Giants, and the Titans probably going to stay where they're at. So if the Arizona's though does not make a trade with anybody trying to move up, I believe that the draft starts at number 8 with the Atlanta Falcons, and will somebody try to move up and make a trade with the Falcons? I said yesterday, I wouldn't be upset with that trading back, but I don't want them to trade back, past pick 15, somewhere around that area. So that just for me. We'll have to see what they decide to do. So guys, that's all I have today. Thank you guys for tuning in to celebrate the retirement of Matty Ice. Um, I gave you my 2 cents on it. I believe he is the greatest Atlanta Falcon of all time. I believe he is a pro football Hall of Famer. And you have to do a lot to change my mind on that. I just you have to convince me otherwise that he does not fit, in any one of those buckets. So that's all I have. Thank you guys for tuning in today. Be on the lookout for it. Like you said, a draft show. If I do my own, if I don't get on with somebody else, I definitely will be doing my own draft show. And guys, tune in. We're going to talk about, who the Falcons pick. We'll talk about the entire draft. And only thing about, when I be doing the draft show, because it be delayed, right? I be like my TV be delayed from what I already pick, so people already know who got picked and things like that. It doesn't matter. We'll still talk about it. So, because I think it's really going to be interesting to see. While it says it all depends on what these teams want and how high players are listed on their draft board, for the highest to the lowest. That's all true. The one biggest thing about this draft board is the quarterbacks, right? Because we hear every year about quarterbacks getting rated higher than they actually get picked. We remember the Desmond Ritter here. He got drafted, right? He got drafted always in the 3rd round. So everybody had these guys going higher, 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 higher. Then lo and behold, only one quarterback went in the first 2 rounds, and that was Kenny Pickett. And then Kenny Pickett now got traded to the Philadelphia Eagles. So, quarterbacks are probably the hardest to pick the gauge, because it's so in high demand and people trying to find out the right quarterback, franchise quarterback. So they always grade quarterback higher than they probably should. And some teams go out and make the dumbest mistake ever and put their franchise behind drafting a quarterback that probably shouldn't have got drafted that high. Most other positions, 7 times out of 10 pan out like the boards go. So that's what I think. So thank you guys. Appreciate you guys for tuning in today. Be on the lookout for that draft show. We definitely going to get and talk about it. This is your boy Ricondo coming back at you with another video. Peace.